family. We gotta talk about Jonathan Majors. And yes, for those of you who know me personally, you know that I am qualified to talk about a Jonathan versus domestic, we're gonna call it DV. All right? I've had my fair share, but here today, I am just going to simply report the news that will be presented in this video.
The news that we're hearing about Jonathan Majors is disturbing. It's sad, it's sickening, all the feels. But it's not surprising. And the reason why it's not really that surprising is because we don't know that man. He's literally a stranger. Some of you on the internet are very susceptible to these intense parasocial connections that you form with people that you idolize. And those connections are dangerous because it doesn't allow you to analyze these sort of events and situations from a neutral or objective perspective. Because I've seen a lot of people go on the internet today and talk about how they don't believe it. It can't be true. It just can't. Or how they just hope that this is all a lie. There's no reason why you should have this much paranoia about a man you don't know. You don't know him. He's a stranger to you. You don't know any of these famous people. They are capable of God knows what. So stop pretending like you do. Watching an interview, watching a movie, watching a TV show, listening to an album does not mean that you and that person are friends.
At this point, either you care about domestic violence or you don't. First it was he didn't do it. Then it's, oh, well, this was self-defense. And I guess now it's going to be leave them white women alone.
Question: is this about race?
What I'm saying is Jonathan Majors got more press in one day. In his first 24 hours of this incident, with almost no evidence he was guilty of, got more press than a...
Now, I'll do you one better. I want y'all to look at the Jonathan Majors situation. How quick the U.S. military was to pull his ads from their campaign, just after catching a whiff of an allegation. But when it came to old boy Ezra Manson Miller, old person, it took them committing multiple crimes against mostly women for the studio behind them to even put out a statement. Mind you, unlike what happened with Jonathan Majors, we had this clown caught on video in 4K doing it. You had commentators like me giving play-by-play updates every time a new allegation against them came up. Yet despite all that, not only are they still the star of the studio's most highly anticipated movie coming out, some executives are still open to the idea of them continuing beyond that. Let me say that again. There are still some executives who are perfectly fine with this person who's juggling grooming allegations like he's at friggin' Cirque du Soleil, continuing to play a character that children will carry on their lunchboxes. But when it came to this black man who recently rose to prominence, who not only had video evidence proving his innocence, he had receipts from the woman who made the allegation in the first place, who then later recanted her statement. Y'all were ready to condemn this man the first chance you got. The second y'all smelled blood in the water, you circled around him like a shark frenzy, without even a shred of evidence, without a moment's consideration, without even considering the idea of giving a man the benefit of the doubt. Folks on Twitter took one look at this black man and said guilty until proven innocent. I think I speak for all my fellow black men when I say we gonna remember this one. You know what I find really funny about this whole thing? Just a week earlier, a lot of the very same women, mostly white women, who were so quick to throw the book at Jonathan Majors saying to believe all women, the same ones who were posting thirst tweets about him, talking about how sexy it is and the things they want to do to him. Which, if you ask me, is a tale as old as time. White women are perfectly fine idealizing us and fetishizing us, but the minute push comes to shove, they'll sell us out just like the white man.
Interesting. Okay, so I have another question, okay? Because you and I both know that evidence has proved that Jonathan Majors' career has definitely been marred by controversies. But if we're being honest, have you and me, or you or I, turned this into a gender war?
So Duval says the sisters owe Jonathan Majors a apology. So you got Lil Duval saying, man, y'all low-key owe Jonathan Majors an apology. Y'all ran with the wrong narrative. That brother done lost all his major deals, and y'all owe him an apology. And he went on to say, and y'all probably gonna do it again the next time a brother get accused of something and there's no proof. Now I'm all for, brothers, not being out here looking like they did something they didn't. But I'm like, Lil Duval, the brother was found guilty. You didn't know this, okay? He actually was found guilty, right? What happened with that was Shorty dropped the civil case. You know what I'm saying? She dropped the civil case, and who knows what would have happened if she didn't drop the civil case, being that he was found guilty of the criminal case, right? So I don't know what Lil Duval's trying to get at. Like, he's making it seem like the brother walked away scot-free or something. You know what I'm saying? Now, hey, look, Jonathan Majors did lose a lot of deals or whatever, but he's a grown man. You're responsible for yourself, your actions. You're a big-time actor. You can't be moving a certain way. But you probably got sisters out there thinking, I don't owe him nothing. Talking about we owe him an apology. We don't owe him nothing. Sit your little self down somewhere. You already know how they be. But Lil Duval says you sisters owe Jonathan Majors an apology.
Y'all don't stand on business enough for me, and I just have to say something because I thought we were boycotting X, Twitter. I heard so much rumblings about how we're not supporting Elon Musk and that people were like, no, this is a final straw, like getting off X. So now I'm seeing so many people saying, oh, I saw this on Twitter, or people tweeted this, and I'm just like, what happened to the boycott? Like, did we just stop? Was that a moment in time type of thing? Because I've been off that app for at least 6 months now. And then the other thing is that I'm seeing Jonathan Majors in public so much, being invited to all these award shows, and I don't see people outraged about that. And personally, I don't feel like he should be, but nobody seems to be concerned.
So listen, as I said in the beginning, I'm just reporting this story. So, one thing that we should be concerned with definitely is his beginning, because hurt people hurt people. And I totally understand that.
The Majors recently sat down with a Hollywood reporter, and he opened up about some traumatic experiences he had starting at just 9 years old. Now, in the interview, his behavior, and he reflected on past incidences he had with ex-girlfriends. Went on to say that after much self-reflection and therapy, he had came to the realization that he was essayed by men and women starting at just 9 years old after his father left when he was 8. He says that the entire situation was wild because although his father left him, the people he was there with were supposed to protect him, not take advantage of him. He went on to say how he recently opened up to his mother about this and how he let her know that this was not her fault. He just wanted to get her on the same page about what was going on in her house. And he honestly wanted to heal, especially considering the fact that this was done to him by members of his family. Now, in response to that, his mother apologized for not protecting him as a child. He reassured her that she was not to blame, acknowledged how his past experiences affected the way he maneuvered in his previous relationships, was quoted saying that he's not using this as an excuse, but he was really effed up behind it. We all know that he is engaged to our girl Megan Good, and she has stuck by his side amid all of the allegations and lawsuits he has been hit with. Now it is looking like Jonathan Majors is really doing the work to grow in his personal life and to move on from these terrible things that have happened to him.
Yeah, so again, I'm neither judge nor jury, and I'm a lover, not a fighter. So I'm just here to present the information as promised in the beginning. I want to play one more thing before I play the Shahrazad Ali and Judge Joe Brown interview.
People keep saying they want original movies and they're tired of these remakes and sequels. Here is the movie for you to watch. Magazine Dreams with Jonathan Majors in it. It is being released by Zeus Network, which I think is the most bizarre thing ever, but I'm happy they got the rights to it and they're putting it out. Now, my anxiety was through the roof. I was stressed out this whole movie because things were just happening and I did not know what was going to happen next. I'm hoping people support this movie. I saw that one of those mystery movie day things at AMC, so a lot of people did not know what was going to come on the screen. And when it started, a third of the theater did walk out. But anywho's, I enjoyed it.
Jonathan Majors is so back.
Jonathan Majors was always one of my favorite actors. I was concerned with what happened with his career. After the whole situation with his ex-girlfriend, this movie actually took a hit because of all of that and did not come out when it was supposed to, after doing really well at Sundance. I'm glad it's out now. It's incredible. He's just the kind of actor that can hold a screen and really captivate an audience. It was a really great movie screening. The story is also extremely interesting. At some point, you kind of ask yourself, is this based on a real story? Is this true? It reminded me of the Joker in a way where you're kind of watching what pushes someone to just like major life events and to become who they are. The Joker's very dark. I would say this film is a little dark, but Majors acted his ass off, and I was invested.
Valerie, focus us back, and we are digressing.
So I want to kick this thing off by playing this audio clip.
We are not strong. We don't have to put our man down in order to be strong. I'm just saying that we have used our strength in the wrong direction. We've been using it against our man instead of for him. If we use the kind of strength and influence that we have in this society to support the black man, won't anybody be able to come against him? But every man is judged by his woman, and if his woman say he ain't nothing, then the whole world believes he ain't nothing. The actual fact is every man himself judge his own self by his woman. He can be out in the world being great, and the whole world can be kneeling to him, and if he come home and she say, you ain't nothing, you ain't been nothing, then that's who he believes.
All right, so that I grabbed that audio from YouTube. We've got Mama Ali. I don't know what to call her. She will definitely share that with me because I don't want to get it wrong. I've heard so many references. I just want to make sure we pay tribute, honor, and love on her the proper way. But anyway, she's in the building, American author of several books, including a paperback called The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? You are live with me, of course, here, my big mouth, and Judge Joe Brown.
Well, we had a rollicking good time the other day, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Well, I am so happy to be here. I love to do new shows with new people and be able to reach out and share what I have studied, what I know about our conditions. And I certainly thank both of you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. And before we get started and I toss it to Judge, I wanted to send a big shout out to Mo Duncan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
His voice sounds a tad bit weak today, so I've been trying to fill in as much as possible. We want Dad to be healthy, but yeah, I want him to do more talking than I do, but I totally understand. We're going to make it do what it do.
Well, I think that over the years, as I've listened to Judge Joe Brown, I think that we are in agreement, certainly, about some of the conditions of our black men and our black women and us trying to mate. I remember I used to listen to him tell the men when they would come on there whining and crying about things, you need to man up. And I love that because most of our men have not had the kind of model that they need in order to man up. Our men are emotional, and they are selfish, and they are greedy, they're self-centered, and a lot of things like that sometimes because our men have been reared by women, and they have the emotional mechanism of the women who reared them. And that's not an insult. It's just an actual fact of what things have been. And so I think we also forget that we are dealing with out here when we're trying to mate, that's our men and our women, we're dealing with the great and great-grandchildren of the crackheads of the 80s. These children are in our schools, they're in our neighborhoods, they're in our streets and so forth, and they all have mental health issues. Now, that's a great many of our population of people who have all of that. We didn't have a lot of the things that our children developed in the 90s came from the 80s. And we have to also look at that and recognize that we have been crippled in ways that we have not calculated yet. And we have to get past that. We have to understand it. And as black women, I think we need to accept, well, you know, we always talk about if the man is not in the home, problems we have, and that's absolutely true, you know, with children not doing as well in school or going to jail sooner or different things like that. But a lot of the other things came from us, because every black person, half black, quarter black, whatever you call it, that's born on the earth came through our womb. We birthed them all, and the mother is the first teacher. And so a lot of what they have learned from us, especially in regard to their behaviors, how they stand, sometimes how they look, how they even take care of their bodies. A lot of those things are feminized because they got it from us, because they didn't have a man who modeled that idea for them to show them how to be men. And so, you know, we all working with a lot. We all have PTSD. I say all the time, that's not just for a special group. That's all of us. We have been born and reared in a hostile environment. We have tried to normalize our captivity and act like everything is okay, and or that we live in a meritocracy. We don't. And so, you know, we have a lot of issues that we have to address if we're going to get past our current condition and get back to some of the standards that allowed us to create and be happy and be able to get along with each other. So that's my opening statement.
Thank you. Judge?
Standing. I wish I could take you on tour. People say I'm attacking women because I just say the same thing you said. Young men, what's wrong with their situation? It's getting worse. The boys and girls have not been exposed to boys and girls 101 A and B, and they don't know how to deal with each other, so they aren't coming together. The birds and the bees don't buzz and don't flap anymore, and it's devolved into an anti-masculine thing on one side, man-hating on one side, woman-hating on the other, and exploitation of the women, and it is not pretty. And nobody wants to be told what they're doing wrong. You can look at some young man and you can say, hey, that's not going to work, young dude. That's not going to get you anywhere except a hard time. Or you try to tell it to a young lady, but they say you're trying to be sexually assertive. And they seem to like that. I guess there aren't enough soap opera episodes on TV now, so they have to make up their own. But it's getting pretty nasty.
Well, I certainly agree with that. I think one of the problems we have certainly watched, and we didn't intervene when we should have, it has been the development of our young men in school. You know, our children are coming out of school with a skillless education. Now, back in the 70s and 80s and the beginning of the 90s, we had shop in our schools for the boys where they learned carpentry, electrical, wiring, auto repair, air conditioning, plumbing, welding, and some basic skills so that when they came out of school, they had something to stand on, some kind of knowledge of how to do something. We had home economics for the women, and that's what they taught us, how to sew and cook, and how to prepare a meal, how to take care of children, how to wash clothes in the washing machine, all kinds of things. Now, since they've taken those skills out for various reasons, I think that what happened is that in order for the majority population in America to make sure that their children were employed, they had to reduce the number of qualified applicants. And so that pushed our boys and our girls out of certain positions and skills. And they blamed it on not having insurance or not having instructors. But I don't think that that's really what it was. And they just took our children out of the ability to learn some skills that when they came out, they would have something to stand on. Work ties a man to the earth. And so they have neutered our men in regard to skill. Every one of us are not going to go to college. We're not going to be able to go into certain kinds of long-term educational processes and come out and be qualified to go and get a position downtown in some big office building. We're not going to be able to do that. But there are certain skills that our boys used to be trained in that required you being able to work with your hands and your head to be able to do things. And those skills are still available today, but they're just not being offered to our children. You can't get a computer to come in and unstop the toilet. The computer can't fix my dishwashing machine. It's a lot of jobs that are available, but our boys are not being guided toward that or trained in that. And they're getting an education that they don't believe applies to them because it doesn't. Learning a lot of Jeopardy facts, that's not going to help them survive out here. And so, we're looking at that. The main thing that the enemy did, and that started in slavery, was to destroy our confidence in the black man. And they destroyed that confidence by disrespecting him, forcing him to disrespect himself. We talk about how the black woman was slavery, well, the black man was rude. All kind of perversion went on then. They made our men have with their mothers in order to procreate. All kind of horrible things have happened to them historically. We don't know if they have genetic memories about this. We don't know if we do. I have a book called Are You Still a Slave? And it's a test book, and it helps you determine, are you still acting like a slave, even without a slave master? Because we're mimicking so many of those old-time behaviors that helped to destroy us then, and we're still doing it just out of a force of habit, repetition. You don't see one commercial on television. They all day long. And the things that were done to us were all day long, all night, all week, all year. And so we still are working with some of those things, and with the interference, as I said, of drugs, of alcohol, of prison, and of us not getting along with each other. As black women, we have been more supported in this society. And then we have been taught to demand the things out of our men that the society has prohibited them from having. So it's a no-win situation. We want them to give us things that they're not qualified to give us, and that they have been so disenfranchised from the workforce, they don't have anything to give themselves. Everything in the society has been designed to give it to us. We can get a free education. We can get free health care. We can get free housing. We can get child care. We can get everything that we need. And I've said before, which has already been out there, that we've been married to the government. That's been our man. And they treat us like we their women. They tell us what to do. And they certainly turn us more against our men, make him impotent. And it's just been so unfair. And so I'm not saying that he has not had some opportunity to repent and repair his life, but I'm also saying that there have been so many barriers up to keep our man from doing anything, and the main one has been, as I said, to discredit him and make him appear unworthy of our love, of our respect, and of allowing him to be a father to his children, even if he don't have a job.
You're right on point. One of the things I studied years ago was the implementation of the institution of slavery. And one of the things that was kind of scary reading it 50-plus years ago was this part about making elements of the Negro or the colored person or the black person's culture, so they will teach it to themselves. And a lot of us have a dependency added on that. So the boys are at home with a mother who gets a check. That's the only way she supports herself is the check. The grandmother, the aunts, the great-grandmothers, the great-great-grandmothers do the same. And the boy grows up without understanding that it's his obligation to provide for and protect, and he's looking for the same subsidy, so he's not possessed of a work ethic. I agree with you, relative to what they've done about taking vocational skills out of the classroom or out of the schools, but there is another thing, too. They've even taken academics out. A lot of states do not require that the children memorize the multiplication tables or even learn how to write longhand because supposedly a smartphone will do it for you. But then we keep getting these blackouts, and what happens when it goes down, and it is just absolutely horrible what's happened. Now, I was in junior high school in the 50s. And we did have vocational training. A lot of it. I can grow stuff, carve stuff, drill and tap things, weld and solder, but there's a problem. You know what the problem was? They were trying to pigeonhole all of the black folk, and this was in Los Angeles, California, the Hispanics, into working with your hands. You will be much happier than trying to get into something where you use your mind. So they didn't want me to do what I'm doing right now because they wanted me to be a mechanic. Nothing wrong with being a mechanic, but you don't need to discourage anyone. And the other thing is that what with AI looming on the horizon, we better good and well get into what's necessary to manipulate it so that we can control it. And I've been working on a little theory for the last few years, which is the only way we're really going to get any kind of economic parity, is for some of our youth to get in on the bottom of a new technological field. So we get in something that's brand new where there are not a bunch of deep pockets controlling it, and we can get the patents and we can bring the centers for these new developments to where we want. So we need both. And one of the problems we have with this whole country that we really fall into is that this is the only industrialized nation in the world that does not have a coherent plan to take obsoleted workers and make them relevant to the changing conditions in the workplace so that they are not completely obsoleted by industrial technology and computerization. So if you think of labor as a commodity, you may have heard me say this, but just like any other commodity, when there's a glut, there are three things you do. You cut back production, subsidize the would-be producer, and store the surplus. The pipeline from schoolhouse to jailhouse consists of putting the surplus labor in not a grain silo, but a jail or a penitentiary cell. The subsidy, we know that's the check, and the cutting back of production is encouraging the children to ideate on nonsense. They get knocked up too early, too often. They develop inappropriate outlooks, ways of carrying themselves. They don't develop social skills that are appropriate to a diverse audience. They have no vocational training, no academic preparation. They look at life the wrong way. They act the wrong way. They send negative body language all the time. They make where they live centers of chaos, so those centers cannot engage in cohesive political self-help through the political process. And in these islands of chaos, it's also easy to get that felony that puts you into the storage facility. And the system is not geared to rehabilitation because right now, if you rehabilitate somebody, you just help in reglutting the labor market. Meanwhile, good folk are scared to the death of walking from their front door to the carport or vice versa, and they pay more attention to crime rather than to the economic rip-offs that are going on. And meanwhile, some other people want to completely destroy the human family and start talking about you're something you're not. And by the way, I've got a little slogan on that. DNA tells no lies about what's supposed to be between the thighs.
Okay.
And, you know, I know there are women who have unfortunate circumstances. They aren't able to get impregnated, or if so, can't birth or carry young, but that's just unfortunate. But these characters, they don't have what it takes to be that way, but they want to get treated like they are. I've always said the duty of a man is to protect womanhood and childhood and promote manhood. That means if the Titanic goes down, I get up out of my seat and I say, ma'am, you and your child have my seat. I'll drown with the boat. But I'm not getting up for some dude that's got a swinger and bounces between his thighs and say, hey, you get on. You need to make sure the lifeboats get safely in the water. Meanwhile, if you don't want to do that, let's go throw you on the other side if it's in the tropics and chum the sharks and get them away from the women and children. But you see, that's not what's done. It's being pushed.
Well, I agree with all of that, too.
I'll pass the mic.
I think that one of the other things, listen, let me back up a little bit. You said so many great things, but let me back up about the discussion of whether or not we need an intellectual education or one where we could be self-sufficient in building and things like that. That's that over 100-year argument between W.E. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington. You remember that, okay? Well, we still haven't got that settled.
I'm saying we need both because what's happening in the schools is they're not pushing either one of them. And the other thing that I don't like, just one additional point, and I'll throw it right back to you, as a boogeyman to excuse everything. And like I tell people, I say I defy anybody in this room to tell me there's a white man sitting on the other side of your kitchen table that keeps your kids from doing their homework. Why aren't you sitting on the other side of that kitchen table demanding that they do their homework and meanwhile learning while they learn? See, it's just go ahead. I toss it back to you. There you go.
I have said the same thing when we talk about the media influence on our children, and I remind the parents that I speak to that they know white people come in your house and change the channel. They don't turn your television on. You have that power. You buy that television. You own that piece of furniture, and you can, we can have more control on that. I think one of the other ways, though, that historically, when a foreign country goes in to destroy another country, they don't just go in to destroy the physical, the brick and mortar, and things like that. They go in to corrupt the women because no nation can rise higher than this woman because the woman is the hand that rocks the cradle. We touch the baby first. We teach the baby first. We tell the baby who they are, what their name is, every basic skill. We teach them how to go to the bathroom, how to wipe themselves, everything. The woman is in charge of that. So what they have swayed our women toward now, which is an additional problem, is all of this self-worship. That's from the hair weaves, the fingernails, the toenails, eyelashes, tattoos, blowing up their buttocks in search of some kind of physical perfection based off of an image that we have always been exposed to that was not our own. And so we have the women.
Can I stop you a minute and ask you to address this? And
yes, sir.
This is in the context of them saying men are worthless. I'm not going to demean myself by trying to appeal to a man. Just who are they trying to supersize their butts for? Who are they trying to supersize their mammaries for? And who are they trying to lengthen their hair down for? And who are they trying to wear these nails for? What is the purpose here?
Well, I have looked at that, and I have talked with many of our women, and I've studied them from coast to coast. I'll be out here. And I ask the women, if you already have a man at home, if you already got a man that you're seeing or dating or whatever you want to call it, then who are you dressing up like that for? What attention are you trying to attract when you go out with your man and put his life in danger by dressing in such a lewd fashion? Because if another man come up and slap you on the behind or feel your breasts or do anything like that, then the man you with has got to defend that. So I try to teach our men, don't let these women book no fight for you based on how she dressed. Don't agree with it. When you pick her up, and if she's dressed inappropriately or you think it's too revealing, tell her that. We're under some kind of misunderstanding that the only way we can feel good about ourselves is that if every man we meet think we are sexually attracted. And that's all, and we think that that's all we have to offer, because at one time it was the main thing that we had to offer. And so it has made us, here's the big part of it, I think, it has made us hooked on artificiality. Even our little children, our little girls, we're teaching them to have a weave, to have fingernails, and I'm talking about at the age of 7, 8, 9-year-old little girls, and making them believe that if you don't put on some false articles from another nationality of people, if you don't dress like them, then you are not beautiful. So it's teaching low self-esteem, because everybody can't afford those expensive things. Everybody can't, get somebody that'll pay for that for them and so forth. And so it's a bad situation. And so now we're even into buying fake designer purses and shoes and clothes. We know it's fake. Everybody around us know it's fake. But we want it just because it has somebody else's name on it, somebody who don't like us, who don't hire us, and don't accept our designs. But whatever they come up with, then we want to wear that because we think we are what we own. If we have on a pair of Nikes, we think that makes us somebody. If we have on Louis Vuitton, Prada, whatever it is, we think that elevates our stature in society. And that's a bad teaching. It's a bad example, and our women are subjected to it more than our men.
You know something, ma'am? One of the things that I asked a young woman, she had waited on me several times at a restaurant, and I asked her why she kept doing this, and she was talking about she had braided her children's 3 daughters' hair and had extensions put in, and I asked the age, and they ranged. One of them was 8 years old, and the oldest was 14, and I asked her why she did that. And she said, it gives me some time to go enjoy myself. I said, well, you had 3 children. Were you ever married? No. I got me 3 different baby daddies. I said, well, didn't you sort of choose that? You did that? No. I said, well, you committed yourself to being a mother. Don't you think it would be a good thing for you to brush and comb your daughter's hair so you bond with them and start explaining stuff? Instead of looking at it as labor savings so you can get the time to go out and party. I said, they'll grow up quick enough. You'll have a lot of life left if you live the life you're living right now the right way. But I don't like that. It's like, that ain't my problem. I said, well, you had them. Well, excuse me, young lady, go about your business. But you see, today they don't want to get told that. I told a preacher a few months ago, why don't you go to service? I said, well, preacher, I haven't heard anybody except at a mosque say anything about character and sin in the last 35 years. Why should I go?
Yeah.
What's the point? You're not giving any guidance to anybody. And last time somebody went to your services, they were talking about you trying to get everybody to sign up and tithe for 25%. What is that? So nobody's doing it. You're talking about the woman putting the guy in a position where he's got to fight and defend her. I got some pushback from young Democratic functioning here in Memphis. How dare you say women need men's protection? I said they do. And interestingly enough, not 24 hours later, some woman who wouldn't listen, according to some people I know on the side bureau, he decided she had to get her early morning jog in. She got kidnapped. So I suppose, and she said she didn't, apparently she was telling people she didn't need protection. So what kind of foolery is this? You know, it's a bargain. You know, and then one other thing, too. Let me say this is laughable when I think about it. When your first book came out, there were a bunch of black lawyers male and female, about 15, 20 of us, we used to hang for a happy hour downtown. And your book produced one of the most interesting bits of animated discussion.
I know it did.
Oh, yeah, about when a woman starts using her for dispensing foulness and what to do with it. Some of the ladies got upset, and some other ones were backing you 100%, saying that's dead right. If you've seen the John Wick series franchise,
yes,
I love it when they start talking about rules separate us from the animals. You notice they keep repeating that, and also consequences. They keep talking about consequences. That's
well,
a
we
good
don't.
thing.
We don't. Yes,
we don't. Somebody needs to do that. But with Tyler Perry and that bunch pushing all of the agendas where they never ever talk about consequences and rules and everything, they just try to tear down what they hate is bad. Or Black Panther, the biggest of all time. But then somebody says, you didn't like it? I said, excuse my language. Look at the last battle scene in there. The men and women of the tribe are trying to kill each other. And the women committed and brought in these outside black men. Well, they should have, but did you see what they did with the black men? This is in Africa, but they're in a place where there's perpetual snow and they live in caves. What is that saying? They got this technology more 500 years ahead of the rest of the world, and there's not a restaurant in Wakanda. What the devil's going on?
And what I thought was interesting is that they did the same thing they have done since Tarzan. They made sure that there was a white man who got the credit for saving the whole nation.
Yeah, the white boy that was flying the virtual airplane, and there ain't a black man in the whole kingdom that can fly that. And then at the goes through some of the credits, and they digress to give you a preview. And he's sitting up there talking to a UN assembly, and he's saying what Wakanda is going to give to the world. And this white guy holds his hand up and says, excuse me, why should we be interested in what a backwoods, primitive society might offer us? And then he knowingly grins, but then he acts like he's supposed to be the king, but he was running around in tight. Guess what? His bodyguards, they weren't his bodyguards. They were his keepers. They were nagging him and telling him what to do.
Right.
His aunts, you saw only some man that was involved in the whole process was that fool with the lip disc. And what do you have on? Lime green sport coat and some orange pants.
Yeah, they were making mockery all of the entire time, but if you didn't understand that hidden meaning of symbols, then we wouldn't have been able to know what was really going on. And we're such a trendy people, Judge, that everything that we do, it passes. So while it's like Obama being president, it was inspirational, but it was not transformational. Nothing really has flipped out about us doing certain greater things. We may have a different idea about something, but there's one thing I want to mention lastly, and that's that I have a campaign going, and this campaign is a suggestion that we start having our little boys play with dolls just like our little girls. We have some misunderstood theory that all we need to do is teach motherhood. But we need to teach fatherhood, too. And the only way to do that is to get our boys in touch with babies, because they're going to grow up and be fathers just like we're going to grow up and be mothers. We're not going to have a teenager like Barbie. We're going to have a little baby that we have to learn how to care for and be patient with. So we need to start having our boys be the daddy. Let them be the daddy. They don't have to play together, the girls and boys. Let the boy have his little boy, his little son or his daughter, and make him take care of them and get familiar. So I think that that's a good idea, and it's a project that we have never tried in order to change the conduct of our men with their children.
That's point in there, I'd also suggest that you teach them how to handle a puppy. The skills transfer from boot puppies, people puppies real well. Another thing is I'll give you a nasty little secret involved in what you're seeing, the way the boys mistreat the children. That's how they got mistreated by their mothers. They just didn't die of it.
Right.
I had more things in front of me where that was going on. Ideation. Stop me if you've heard me say it, because I say it often. 1994, in my court, I had a family. They were all in there charged with felony drug and theft offenses. I had a 57-year-old woman. I had her 43-year-old daughter born when she was 14. Her 34-year-old granddaughter, who was born when her 43-year-old mother was only 9 years old, actually 1 week shy of her 10th birthday. The 34-year-old had a 21-year-old daughter in my courtroom. The 21-year-old daughter had an old daughter who was pregnant with her second child. A year and a half later, the 21-year-old was 23. She was in trouble, and I was making her come to court to eyeball her. Her 11-year-old daughter was now 13. The 57-year-old was now 59 years old, and I was making her eyeball me every couple of weeks. And we kept up with her, and 1 week she had 342 lineal descendants. The next week she had 358, and she was all of 59 years old. Well, guess what? 4 years. When she was 63, she had 3,400 lineal descendants, of whom I had 120 plus in my courtroom.
I want to do a time check because I know, Miss Ali, you didn't have that much time. So how much more time? Because I have two people who want to say hello to you. Don't mean to interrupt. I just want to be respectful of your time.
Well, listen, this is so good, Valerie. This is so good. I waited my own life to talk to somebody sensible about these issues. So, let's go a few more minutes, okay?
All right. Well, Judge, that's quite the compliment.
But
you're breaking up. I don't know if you said anything.
Yeah,
Judge,
the problem is this. The problem is this 29-year-old descendant of what started off as a 57-year-old. He had 64 outside children by different baby mamas. He wasn't even 30 years old. And one of his cousins, who was 32, had somewhere in the mid-40s. So a whole bunch of this was going on, and it was just like a breeding pattern on a large slave plantation.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of work to do to change this, but it seems like the ones that want to set the tone think this is all right and it should be encouraged, and they don't want any shame or guilt, and that's a bad thing, and that's just poison. But, I mean, you know how to write, so that's better than me, and I'm enjoying the conversation. I want to recruit you. Bring you to Memphis and talk to some of these knucklehead idiots around here.
I worry about that same problem you're talking about because our communities are really not that large in certain neighborhoods. All of these different baby mamas and different daddies and everything, nobody knows who's connected to who, whose bloodline is connected to who, and I'm concerned that as we grow older, we're going to start having some other kinds of defective mentalities and not know it. It's going to be their cousins, their sisters and brothers. That's a problem.
Well, wait, get this. We did some tracing on this woman, and we observed that in the high schools in Memphis, there was a cadre of about 30 or 40 students who set the negative tone. They were too old for the grade. They acted thuggish, roguish, and people were looking up to them. And when we went and did the genealogy, we found that most of them were related to this woman or 4 other women that we had been tracing. It was just absolutely preposterous. And you want to know how bad it is? As of 2008, the last check was these 5 women who are still alive were the ancestors of close on to 250,000 people in West Tennessee. So what you're talking about is absolutely the case.
Well, I think
Beautiful.
that the only thing that we can rely on that will create change is that our people tend to be very short. They have very short attention spans, and we're trendy. You know, there's trends in sex, there's trends in drugs, there's trends in clothes, there's trends in everything. And most of our people don't do dating anymore, so that's out. But I think what we're going to be able to look at is that hopefully a lot of the behaviors of the acting out will just be a trend, and given 10, 15 years, that a lot of it will fade out, and things like monogamy and respect and dignity and a proper diet will come back into fashion, and we will be able to create a new people. That's the only way to make a new people, is when the people behave differently, and that has to be taught by the mother.
By the way, one good point in this, with today's communications, it takes from 4 days to about 3 weeks to set a national trend in motion. If we can
21 days.
If we can just make this nonsense perceived to be uncool and lame and put a few other things in as fads that would be positive ones, we might be able to turn it around. But we have to take opportunities like present themselves right now, where we do have a few social media outputs or outlets, let's put it that way, where we can get something out there, because mainstream media is pushing an agenda, and that agenda is poison to us. But anyway, hey, one thing before Valerie gets to it, when we get to the hour, what's going to happen is anybody that's already online can stay online. She'll open all lines up, and we go to what she calls the Hunger Games, where everybody can talk, but generally people are polite. If you want to hang around and listen to some of the opinions, sometimes they are quite fascinating. But I
want to hear it. I want to hear it.
One other thing, too, a request. Valerie, are you listening? Valerie?
Yes, sir. Why do I feel like I'm being set up?
Please make sure that
you were going to talk about me being single. Okay, all right.
No, I'm not going to talk about you being single. But, daughter, you need to somebody needs to find you that's worthy. But anyway, here's the other thing. Please make sure that our 2 guests have my contact information so we can get in touch and take this further, all right?
Oh, yeah, I'll put you in a group chat. Yeah, definitely.
How do we get in touch with you guys? Ma'am?
How do you get in touch with me?
Yeah, if you want somebody to get in touch with you, what's your social media? Where do you hang out?
Yeah, well, I just do.
I don't want you to put it out, the personal stuff on air. We've got some.
Oh, no, I got my QR code up there, and I don't have Instagram and Facebook and all that, because I'm not going to be bothered with all of that. I have Sister Shahrazad Ali at yahoo.com. That's it. Sister Shahrazad Ali at yahoo.com, and it's on my QR code. And I wanted to mention my books, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, and the sequel, The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man, Are You Still a Slave?, Things Your Parents Should Have Told You, Urban Survival, and How Not to Eat Pork or Life Without the Pig. Now, everybody can benefit from those books. They are life-changing, and I hope that your listeners, will partake of that and try to get a better idea.
I commend your books. Anybody listening, go buy the books and start with the first one she mentioned.
All right, so that would be Mo and then Leroy. Leroy says he wants to say something to you because you guys met before. And I also wanted to send a shout out to Wes. Wes got on my case via text message and said, "No, I told you to bring her on a whole year ago." So Wes, Wes, I send my love. My apologies. But welcome, 407-308. 407-308. Your mic is live.
Hello, hey Valerie. Hey Judge.
Hey,
hey
Mo
Mama
Duncan.
Yes, sir.
Hello there. First of all, thank you, Sister Ali, once again for coming on the show. I knew this was going to be a blast. I just feel like I have another mama and daddy just speaking, real truth over here. And that was the main reason I was just so blessed to have you come on. So now we can get parents give it the real deal. We got James Evans and Florida Evans over here. So the main thing I wanted to ask both of you guys, spoke about entertainment earlier, but I wanted to ask about how media and like movies in particular, how they have been pumping lack of black love on like TV shows and commercials, and how a lot of this especially for you, Sister Ali, do you think a lot of this kind of like jumped off from like The Color Purple and like What's Love Got to Do with It and Wait and Exhale on down, on how they only show the conflict in black love and not showing like how you can be strong and go against the system, i.e. like the movie Claudine back in the 70s?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that what today is referred to as entertainment is it's way off the chart and the scales of what should be considered entertainment. And I remind us that the words fun or happy or good time, any of that, is not in any of the holy books, not the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. That's some new contemporary language and behaviors that somebody made up, first of all, to make money off of us, to make us think that that's an easy job and something that will give us something to think about other than correcting our own mistakes and doing something for our own community. That ain't got nothing to do with fun or happy or laughing or any of that nonsense. So we have to try to reevaluate what is considered as entertainment for our people and the people in the condition that we in. And certainly all of those movies, we have very infrequently looked at what the content was or the character that they were trying to show, because we saw it as black people having a job, getting work. And so we tended to forgive everything that was said or done in the name of at least they got employment, now they can be an actor too or whatever. So we need to reevaluate and look at all of those kind of things, I think.
Hey, how
All
you doing?
All right. Welcome. You're live.
This show is so fantastic. I got tears in my eyes now. Listen to the content that both of these people have given us. And I want to know when they're going to take this show on the road.
Well, Judge gave her the invitation, so stay tuned.
Yeah, I would like to see this little PBS. I mean, I want to see it on the road because it's needed.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, brother,
so,
for saying
real quick, remind her how you guys, how you met and how you know each other.
Oh, yeah. I took your pictures at Al Salam in Jacksonville, Florida.
You know, I can remember that, right? You know, I've met 10 million people since then. I wish I could remember, but I can't.
You know Omar? You know, Imam Omar?
I know 10 people named Omar. I don't know which one you're talking about. Everybody named Omar. I don't know.
Can you remember the last time you was in Jacksonville, Florida? Can you remember the last time you was in Jacksonville, Florida?
I would like to.
Yeah, but I took your picture and you told me, this is your exact words to me. He said, brother, I'm so happy and proud of you because people take pictures of me, and I never see them again.
Did you ever send me the pictures?
Yeah, I gave it to you before you left Jacksonville.
I should remember that. You're right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
anyway,
Right.
I appreciate you doing that. They still do that, and I appreciate you doing it, okay?
Well, Brother Omar was talking to me today. He probably listens to the program now. And we're going to try to get you to come back to Jacksonville.
Thank you, brother.
So much. 901-376, 901-376, your mic is live. And then from there, I'm going to go to private number and then 404 and 216.
And then we're going to go because I'm going to be leaving, okay?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Y'all work people on here. Okay, go ahead. We'll take those last few. All right.
Indeed. I apologize for holding you up, Queen Shahrazad Ali, but we definitely just trying to give you your flowers. I just like to say thank you for your contributions that you have given society. I got on here and I had to reach through my bookshelf and find your book, and I was just looking for the perfect annotation. And as I was looking through there, it hit me that, man, I need to reread it. I haven't read it since 2018, but when I read it,
you need to reread it.
It opened my eyes because it basically stripped the veil down. It ain't no tricks. It went around all the games and got straight to the point about what's going on within our relationships between young black men and young black women. And I think it's something very important that everybody should read. So it's stated. Thank you for that. We need a part 2. Whatever you're going to do, a DVD, the people need that. They need to get it again. But thank both of you guys for all that you have done, you will do, and we're just so thankful for you, all right? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, brother. Okay.
Thank you. She said we work her. I'm so sorry. Y'all, please keep it short because she's got to go. Private number. I assume that's Sarge. There's a lot of private numbers.
I'm in trouble. You got me figured out already.
Hey.
How you doing, Valerie? How you doing, audience? Fascinating conversation as always. Always great. I appreciate it and all the parameters that are involved in the conversations. But I do have a slight change of pace here because I want to run something by the judge, and I hope he's still here so I can hear his comment on it.
Wait.
And if I don't get it over with by 2 minutes or so, just go ahead and cut me off and let the judge answer.
Sarge, if it's for the
I'm
judge,
here.
hold that thought.
I'm listening.
Wait one second, Judge, because she's going to go, so you're going to be on. So do you have a question for Mama Ali or no? If you don't, we'll come back to you.
No, not particular, other than to say that, more power to your sister. You're on the right track. Black men and black women need to get back together like they once were, and I wish you and God bless you in all your endeavors in that respect.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Val, Judge Joe Brown, I'm going to go. And listen, I'm in love with y'all now. I think you are just wonderful, and I appreciate this opportunity where we can talk. And, my fan base is big, so they all love me, and they want to tell me all the time. So you have to be patient with them, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Please be safe. We love you to life.